Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Hope that you are having a wonderful day here today, and hopefully it's going to get a lot better because right now we have an excellent Terran versus Zerg matchup up here in the top left. One of my favorite Zergs, in my opinion, probably the second strongest Zerg overall in the world. It is Hero. And for those of you wondering, well, who's stronger than Hero? I'd probably have to give it to Sulky since his ASL victory, right? But like Hero is one of those guys where, I mean, he could win at any time. He's actually, for those of you who don't know, Hero is the most consistent ASL performer, right? Like Flash obviously has a ton of victories, but Hero is like in the top 4 more than anybody. He's in the top 8 like all the time. It's pretty wild how good he's been. But still missing that victory. His opponent going to be one of his teammates here. This is Ample. I think people know that I do love casting some Ample games. He's a very aggressive Terran. He actually had a really good ASL season in ASL 16. ASL 17, unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to make it in, but he has been playing really well lately. This is generally considered his worst matchup, with his best matchup being Terran versus Protoss. But I feel like his Terran versus Zerg has improved a lot. Everyone's still improving really, really considerably. It's wild, man, watching just how much StarCraft 1 is evolving. You know, that's something that I was actually talking about with some people recently that haven't been keeping up with StarCraft 1, but still watch a lot of StarCraft 2, for instance. They were asking me about StarCraft 1. They're like, I mean, does it need to be patched? Like, do you need, you know, is it getting a little bit stagnant? And I had to explain them that actually the metagame is changing faster now than it literally ever has. And it's a wild thing. People ask sometimes, like, how could that even be true? But I think just as player skill sets get better and better, they're capable of doing more. But also, if you look back to the Kespa era, right? So let's say that you have, I mean, the team number varied a couple times. Let's just call it 10 teams just to make this easy math, right? So if you have 10 teams in Kespa, you might have 1 to 2 geniuses maximum per team. Okay, like, well, when I say genius, genius is like, there's only a few players really considered geniuses, like Nada and whatnot, but like 1 to 2 super duper duper top players per team, right? Well, that means that that team has a metagame kind of based around what that player is doing, or those players are doing what those players are inventing, right? And then they come out and they play like 1 Pro League game and maybe, you know, a handful of games during the OSL or MSL season. So you don't fully get to see what's going on, okay? And you don't fully understand what they're thinking about. If you look at nowadays, and by the way, guys, back then, there's almost no replays got out. It was wild. But if you look at it nowadays, all the top players are not trapped in some sort of Kespa team. We get replays from all of them. We watch them play live on stream all the time. So like literally all the best players in the world right now are playing publicly. And I feel like that is a big thing in pushing the metagame forward. Like everyone gets to see what everyone's metagame is. It all kind of blends together. Everyone is working on the same stuff and sees what each other is working on. And yeah, it's given us this unbelievably diverse and beautiful set of games that, I mean, that has to be part of the reason why, you know, for instance, you're sitting here watching ArtosisCasts right now. It's awesome. Anyways, that's my little rant about just how beautiful and diverse StarCraft 1 strategies are right now. Taking a look at the strategy these two are going for, this is a perfect wall here from Ample. You might have noticed when I was talking, he picked up from here and landed it here. If you have it here, it has a hole that Marines and Zerglings can get through. And then he decided, you know what? I did a little pressure on the map. Let's land it back. And now Zerglings can't get through. So like a million Zerglings could attack this and he'd probably be fine. He's going for the very quick +1. There's Stim on the way, and we'll probably see him add 3 barracks very, very shortly here. Looking over at Hero's base. It was a 2-hatch Spire into the 3rd hatch in the main base. Ample kept his SCV alive a very long time and did see this hatchery. So there's a ton of information on both sides. They're both going for pretty good macro plays. Pretty heavy macro plays, I would say. Now, Ample starts to walk out. Okay, now this is like a funny move. This is a move that you should do sometimes, but not all the time. The Lings turn around and go for the counterattack. This is why full walls are very, very strong in this matchup. When they go for that counterattack, you can actually just kind of repair through it. And you see he's forcing 2 Sunkens, and that was literally everything he wanted to do. Notice how he turns around and stims home. He knows that 2 Sunkens have been forced. Oh, that's funny. Ample didn't make a Marine out of this. He made a second medic. Now, that's a mistake. Excuse me. If he had made a Marine, this would already be over. Instead, he is losing, a few units here, a bit of mining time as well. So that will be cleaned up. And he killed all the Lings, but forced the 2 Sunkens. So anyways, I was talking about that before, that you should do that move out sometimes. If you did this move out every time with a build like this, then what your opponent could do is just make a few extra speedlings and then surround it when you move out, right? So that's like, he didn't have the intel. He didn't know for sure. It's a better play not to make those extra zerglings, because if they don't walk out, you're just missing drones. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It's like one of these things you have to rotate for it to be effective. Now, missile turrets going up all over the place. The mutas are here, but it's only 5 so far. So not the scariest amount. 6. I talk about it a lot. 7 mutas is the count that starts to get scary for Terran, since you one-shot SCVs that point. This turret layout is not very good. This here is good, but just this down here, these patches can be pretty heavily abused. So we're going to start seeing a lot of SCVs go down. There's 1. There's 2. Can't even mind these bottom patches. I would love to see a secondary turret there. The Marines start to come down to try to help out a little bit. Now, diving on this turret's a little bit hard. He does want some more SCVs. Everything kind of stacked up over here. He's done a lot. Like, look at that. That is a lot of SCVs down. 25 workers remain. 24 against 27. That is very hero favored right now. Okay, and just to be clear, you should have already had a factory going in a healthy game. But obviously, Ample has taken some damage. Let's take a look. Up here, Hero getting ready for that 3rd base location. Has that +1 attack going for the mutas, but that's about it right now. He is going to go pretty heavily on mutas, and I think that is absolutely the right choice. He's already done a lot of damage. Here, this spawn is terrible. Or not just this map for blocking mutalisk harassment. It's really, really, really hard to block the harassment here, as I think you're beginning to see these. It's like hard to repair these. It's hard to get them down. And they're so far away from everything as well. Any vertical mineral patches are always harder against mutalisk harassment, but especially ones that look like this, where the mutas have all this area to play with. You can't really put turrets behind because they get picked off too quickly. So right now, he is continuing the harassment. Ample has moved across the map. There's only 2 Sunkens. This could be a little bit deadly. He has his +1 attack. He has his range. He has his stim. And these mutas are hugely out of position. So here we go. Ample's going to try for it. Is there enough here from Hero? He's going to chew through the Zerglings and mutas super, super fast. 4 Sunkens remain. Okay, 1 Sunken goes down. He's trying to kill these. Some of his Marines in the back are actually not shooting. If he had taken 1 step forward, this would be going a little bit better, but he does pop all of them. Here come the mutas that Hero was harassing with back there. How much damage can he get before Hero clears this? Hero will be able to clear this with his mutas, but he's taking a lot of damage, as you can see. Oh, wow. In fact, we're down to 6 mutas here now. That is painful. He kills everything. Looks like he lost about 5 drones. He lost a lot of mutalisks. He lost all of his Zerglings and 4 Sunkens. So that was a lot of damage. Yeah, if you count up, right, he was in 27 drones, then he lost about 4, but he also made extra sunks. So yeah, that was painful. Now, the factory has been started. It's obviously very, very late, so it's a long time until Science Vessels. It's a long time until Valkyries. And we'll see if Hero remains on these mutalisks. I think he will for a bit. I think he will. Lot of mutas out right now. Trying to refill this SCV count. Okay, we're back up to 32. 32 is like what you have at like 5 minutes, 30 seconds to 6 minutes. That's like what you have when you're starting to build your missile turrets. Okay, so you can see how far behind he was put by that. And that is a number you sit on for a little bit until like 7-ish minutes, and then you start making them again. But definitely did some damage. Of course, Ample did counter damage as well. So we're in kind of an interesting game. Looking at it, I definitely prefer Hero's position. I think Hero is a bit ahead. Look at this. He's got a full flock of 11 mutalisks. He's got that +1. He could dive here, and that would be scary. But he does not have any defense at home. So that's why he's not diving right now. If he were to dive all the way in here and Ample very quickly and cleanly got across the map, that could cause a lot of damage because he doesn't have any static D to slow down the march of the Marines. Muta's still trying to pick off these Marines and medics a bit. Definitely both sides raising their worker count quite a bit during this time. Brings his Zerglings out. So he has like a group and a half of Zerglings or so there. So it looks like he wants to do an army crush. I don't... it's like very close to whether or not that's going to work. Right? He's got the full group of mutas. Okay, well, he's doing such a good job around these bridges. Such a good job. Ample's actually chasing a little bit too hard there, I think. Like, you have to keep your Marines in just the right position. Now, he brings his Lings down, and they're mostly tanking, but they're also dealing some damage there as well. So he will end up killing off this army. Can he get the medics as well? I think he's just barely going to get them. Okay, just barely gets them and will start to get out. Ample continuing to just pump off of these 4 bases. Science facility on the way. I do like the science facility here as opposed to an armory. You know, he's killed so many mutas already. He knows his opponent has to get into lurkers. It's just not going to work otherwise. So yeah, the irradiates are going to be far stronger than Valkyries would be here. So already we have some lurkers on the way here for Hero. He has that hive up. Defiler Mound about halfway done. Evolution Chamber coming as well for those longer games. And a decent amount of bio out in the front here for Ample. 5th barracks coming up. Yeah, I like that also. I want to see Ample stay on 2 bases for a bit here. You know, normally you'd want to take your 3rd at this time, but there's been a lot of damage on both sides, and he doesn't have a lot of tech. So I think he needs to get his vessels going, get his Marine production really going, gain some map control, and then think about taking that 3rd base. If you take that 3rd base too quickly and you have to play more defensively, your opponent is going to get lurkers up into more of a containment position, bring defilers down, and the game is going to end. So I like this decision for the additional barracks. I just want to see constant production here out of Ample. And of course, as he gets to irradiates, that's going to be a really important moment because he can shred these mutas at that point. The mutas are actually still a really big problem right now. They're still like kind of scouting everything. They're stopping reinforcements, you know, picking units off left and right. Plenty of hydras or lurkers over here. And look at this. We actually have ranged attack and melee on the way. So it's very clear that we're going to have a Hydra Lurker Defiler switch here from Hero. Hero, you know, that is a very strong composition right now anyways. It's like the most cost-efficient comp that we really see. By the way, Irradiate is just about ready here. I want to see an Irradiate on those mutas. He's actually, I think he's baiting Irradiate to the mutas, but I think it's still the right play. Okay, gets one of the bottom ones. Really, really nice click there. There is a skill to clicking into the middle or bottom of the Mutalisk stack. All right, gets another one. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. You can see it's a little bit of a hard split. So he only kills 2 of the mutas, but now they all have so much damage on them that it's really hard to do anything with them. They'll probably be dedicated to anti-drop play, like maybe you'll leave them there or something. Okay, now let's take a look. The defilers are ready. Consume is ready. He's starting to push here. Plague is on the way, which is very, very normal. You generally grind with Plague with this composition. Looks like he wants a 4th base. So Darkstorm goes down, gets his lurkers underneath, going to push this all back. This is the 4th base location, I believe, that he wants to take. He already has a drone up here as well. All right, those 4 lurkers staying under the Darkstorm for now. You know, he's got to keep this push back for as long as possible. Throws down the Irradiate on the Defiler. Now, there's not a lot of counterplay to that right now. Notice there are a few Scourge coming out. I feel like this might be more anti-drop than trying to get the vessels. You know, really great Terran players can dodge Scourge quite a bit. But a pretty fail-safe way to reduce vessel counts is Plague. If you're continually plaguing, then just about anything kills the vessel. Now, this is smart. Look at this. He brings us over. No Scourge in the area. He's looking for this Defiler. Will end up finding it. Very, very good play. 4 lurkers on the high ground, though. He can't attack into that. Maybe waiting for some irradiates here to reduce that count a bit. Now, you know, during this time, we've been looking a lot over at our Zerg player Hero, but Ample down here has his 3rd base up now. He's landed the factory, but we don't see an add-on yet. He may stay just SK Terran, but if he's been paying attention, like, Well, I think now he'll see for sure. I think he'll get add-ons. Oh, nice. He actually does pick off a vessel. But I think he'll probably get add-ons when he sees these Hydras with the speed, right? They're getting range right now. They have their +1 attack. It's very clear it's going to be Hydra Lurker Defiler. And when it's Hydra Lurker Defiler, like it's really hard to play pure bio against that. Most people like to get a bunch of tanks with it too. 2 or 3 factory tanks is generally good. Here's 1 factory. Here's the 2nd factory. And we might even see him throw down an armory. It's definitely worth it to get tank attack upgrades. They're one of the best upgrades in the game with +5 damage. Okay. Has a little force here to stop counterattacks. Okay, this is something I was wondering about. Like, he needs a group here to just stop units flooding into the center and taxing his multitasking, right? So he's got containment here and he's got containment there. Now he decides to run up. No, this is not going to work at all. You know, I guess if the reinforcements hadn't come down. Oh my God. What? Is Terra OP? That was crazy. Like, he timed it out perfectly with Dark Swarm disappearing and did a lot better than I thought coming up the ramp. He actually had such a nice arc there in 2-1 upgrades. Obviously, it did get stopped, but, like, seriously, I thought it was going to get mangled, but he did, like, okay with it. So very well done. And you can see this group really, really important. Hero had the idea to come out over the bridges, maybe a counterattack towards a 3rd base or something, but he will be able to push that back. So this is a really important moment where we need to see Ample really up his game and have units both here and here. He can't let the Zerg get out and have Defilers all over the map. If it becomes a game of cleanup against Defilers, Terran ends up losing there. You need to try to keep things bottled up. Obviously, they'll get out sometimes, but you need to just try to control movement. Now, the 4th base with that 4th gas is up. Very, very scary indeed. And he does have some siege tanks coming out. 2 factory siege tanks. Not that many tanks yet, though. It feels like he's been so focused on creating units that we haven't really seen, you know, the production of siege tanks that we want to see. And they're kind of split to weird locations too, which can make it harder. Oh, that was a sick plague right there. Oh my God, that was sick. Okay, so now all the vessels are going to go down to 1 health. A lot of the Marines being pushed back. You can see that he doesn't have much map control. This group, by the way, came down from these bridges. This is why I was talking about it's really important to make sure you keep groups up here and groups here. You have to stop things from that happening. Now, this is a lot of bio coming up to fight. Once again, Darkstorm goes down. He doesn't have a single Firebat in here, unfortunately. We have seen lately some Terran players adding way more Firebats in at this portion of the game. For some reason, my mind is blanking on who I've casted recently that's been doing that, but definitely multiple pros have been at this point against this type of comp, just being like, okay, we're going to have like, you know, maybe 20% Firebats in our army. And like that definitely seems like it's a very good plan. Now, Ample's trying to take a 4th base up here. He does have that ramp, which is nice. He has a decent group of army. He does have that +3 attack on the way, by the way, as well. Yeah, stimming here. Great Darkstorm goes down. He's actually picking off a decent amount of units. He's going to have to fall back towards the siege tanks. Very defensive position for siege tanks. He won't be losing these. He won't be broken in this area. You know, he may want to eventually move them up here because if he can control, if I zoom out a little bit, right? So this is very defensive. If he has them here, right? If you look, this is a doodad, this is a doodad, this is a doodad. So it's like these are the choked areas that he would have to walk through. Again, this is as well. So these are the choked areas that he would have to walk through to attack into those siege tanks. So this area could be very powerful, and then he can push over towards the 4th base. So that's something he should be thinking about for the future. But right now it looks like he just really wants to hold on to this space. He's going to try to push everything back. Notice how many Firebats. Okay, there you go. This is what I was talking about. In fact, this might be 50% Firebats at this point. You know, it really matters how many lurkers are there, whether or not the Firebats are going to crush. Because if it's like a small amount, if it's like 1 or 2 lurkers, this amount of Firebats will kill everything under the Darksworn. Because the Lings can't really do much, and then it's like, okay, as long as they're spread and kind of encircling the lurkers, lurker spines will go crazy. You kind of have to target the lurkers at that point. Anyways, still a very defensive location. He's focusing really heavily once again at getting this base and securing this base. He's not mining from it yet. In fact, it's misplaced. It should be down one hex there. But that is a lot of Firebats. This is a plague situation, 100%. Needs that plague down on there. There it is. Beautiful, beautiful plague. But the Firebats are clearing everything before they even lose their health. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe what I'm even looking at. Dude, that was a big, scary army. And he plagued. That's generally what you do. But Ample with a great, great engagement right there. Hero's going to continue to try to push. He doesn't want this 4th base up in mining. You know, this is a small map. You know, Zerg, it's like, where do they take their 5th? It's a little bit difficult. So on those 4 bases, you do have to put on a lot of pressure. And if Ample can have 4 bases as well, how are you going to end up winning that? Well, he runs up. We're going to need a Dark Storm here for sure. Okay, throws down the Dark Storm. He's going to have to give up this base for now. This is, I don't think this is something you want to try to clear right at this second. All right, he dematrixes a Marine. The Firebat, absolutely a better choice. There you go. Gets one on the Firebat. And in fact, the Firebat is crushing, man. Dude, this is a new age. Seriously. I need to talk about this more. Okay, this is absolutely wild what we're seeing in this game because recently this composition from Hero has been very strong. And the most we've seen from Terran Pros is really just like massing up siege tanks and trying to win in that way. But the amount of Firebats he's making, he's clearing these positions that don't really look clearable. And utilizing the defense matrix there as well. It's just some brilliant play, right? It's really, really impressive. I'm kind of wiggling right now. I cannot wait to try to mix in the combination of the siege tanks with a lot of Firebats and utilizing defense matrix a little bit more than irradiate in these situations. So right now the irradiates are going down. Hero is still pushing through this base. He's getting up here. A beautiful plague hits every single science vessel. Ample has to run back. This is starting to look like a Hero victory. Hero has actually surpassed Ample in supply. He's got map control. That's probably the biggest thing, really. More than the supply is, look at this. He's shut down the 4th. His rally point is now over the bridges. That's how confident he is in that area. And then he has a group of units here, which can both defend this 5th base, but also counterattack. So this is really strong. And look at this. He's starting to move down in this direction. Oh, God, those vessels. Oh, God. You will be able to pull those back. Runs up, throws down that Dark Storm. Okay, he's going to eliminate a lot of siege tanks here. So some good plays. Ample needs to do something and do something quickly. It looks like there's still a Defiler up here, so there's still potential for hitting here, but it looks like Ample's trying to clear the center. Another beautiful play goes down. He is killing off some of these lurkers, has some siege tanks in a great defensive spot, but going to have a little bit of a hard time here as the Dark Storm comes up. A lot of Hydras as well. Well, if he attacks into those siege tanks, will get cleared as well. One lone red Firebat coming down after a million drones. I don't think that's going to work out if he sees it. Yeah, going to burrow that, so that's going to go. More Firebats coming out, and he is starting to really clear a lot of this. Man, the Firebats are doing so well in these smaller engagements. He's got 3-1 upgrades on them right now. This is actually pretty open. Another group of units coming down from that bridge rally area. Looks like he wants to try to shut down the 5th base. I mean, 5 bases is way too much to allow Zerg to have. Even 4 is like, you're probably dead. But, you know, he's actually getting down here. Irradiated all of those lurkers. Going to go after the hatchery, it looks like. I'd like for him to just kill the drones, because I'm not sure he's going to be able to kill the hatch with Firebats, but the drones definitely doable. Still holding that ramp a little bit. We see Hero bringing down a ton of units right now. What does Ample have left? He has this burning command center. Yeah, look at this. More Dark Storms. He's just slowing him down here while cleaning this up. So he saves his base, even though he lost most of the drones. He's denying this 4th. So it's just like 3 base Ample. And you can see he's mined out, mined out. We have mined out, pretty much mined out. Still there, there. So it's like 3 mining bases against 1. That is not winnable over time, right? That is not something you're going to be able to win. And, oh, he agrees completely with that. GG. Dude, that was a sick game. I'm really excited about the Firebat meta that's coming for us. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you've watched this long, I really appreciate it. You should leave a comment letting me know. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.